The right-wingers are engaging in cancel culture. We are just as bad as the leftists. It is unbearable. We have sinned. We must repent for our sins of engaging in this horrible act. This is, of course, in relation to the family sex show, which, yeah, I'm sort of proud to be like, nah. Like, if we're going to have anything in society that gets not accepted, I think nonce advocacy is something we should have. And the idea that that's right-wing is really a self-report.
It's like the ultra MAGA thing. Yes, I am. It's like, hang on, you're against the family sex show that wants to show 5-year-old children naked adults on stage. Yeah, I'm against that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're not?
Big yes to that. I know. And think about the names. Family sex show. It's already kind of hinting at incest in the title, isn't it? There's something creepy about that. See, the thing is about the left and the sort of far left, or whatever you want to call them, they always push ultimately towards paedophilia and things like that because it's the last taboo, isn't it? And they think all
break
taboos,
down the boundaries.
Right? All taboos are inherently oppressive, and therefore they should all be broken down. They don't ever think like maybe some taboos are good. Maybe they're there for a reason.
I mean, it's whenever you hear a leftist talk about inclusivity, and we need more inclusivity in the space. Well, they're not talking about involving people. They're talking about breaking down boundaries to make it more inclusive. And if you keep breaking down boundaries, well, nonce inclusivity becomes a thing.
Right.
Why can't we hear their side of the story? I don't want to.
And there have been articles, haven't there? There was one in like Salon, I remember a couple of years ago, something. It was like sort of making the case for it, and then it got taken down. Yeah. They always push towards this because where else can they go? They've broken every other taboo.
There is a reason they keep making intellectual arguments for this. And to start this off, we'll start off with just a shill for ultimate cancel culture, this being Mao's cultural revolution in China that me and Harry went through, in which people just got cancelled left, right, and centre by being killed. But if we go to the next one, we can also see the family sex show here, whining. Cancel culture. My play was shut down by right-wing activists before it even opened. Oh no. Why just right-wing activists? Hang on a minute. Because that's the big story for me, where they're mentioning the fact that the right did this.
Yeah.
Not a single leftist. Not a single left-winger was like, maybe getting naked in front of kids and talking about your sex life and pegging is not wholesome. Maybe that's something we shouldn't be... No.
But this will bring people together. If people know about this, now the main thing is a lot of people in normal life getting on with their jobs don't know about this stuff. But if they do, if you tell your mum or something what's going on, they're always shocked. This is where they'll lose everyone because when it comes to people's kids, people get very fierce. Rightly, they get very protective and they say, whoa. This would lose everyone who reads this article.
I love the idea that if some Guardianista came up to you with this in a paper and was just like, look, the right wing are cancelling nonce paedophilia. I was like, am I rightist then?
Yeah,
you are. Yeah, 100% these days you are. And if we go to the next one here, we can see, just to remember who these people are and what they were advocating. There's some people responding to this. The first one being a song from the family sex show. Do you want to read this? Because I don't.
Not particularly. I mean, I don't mind saying I have a penis in my pants. I mean, I don't mind admitting that, but I don't really want to read the rest of it.
No. I'm not gonna either. I don't want that clipped. So I guess other people could just read it. That's what they wanted to sing in front of 5-year-olds and up. There's a question, obviously, why'd you put it at 5? Like, why was there an age barrier at all? Because if you're happy to teach 5-year-olds about the penis in your pants, what? Like, why did you pick that as a line? And that's the obvious point. I don't trust these people in the slightest, no matter how much cope they bring out about why this is wholesome.
And that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, that's the thing about the cancel culture argument. If it was appropriately rated, let's say they had this 6 show and it's 18 or 16. I mean, I don't even think stand-up comedy, when I've done comedy shows where I get to set my own rating, I set a rating on it. It's like, you've got to be at least a teenager. It's always weird if you suddenly see a kid in the crowd, like, why are they there? And this is not really cancel culture. This is just like some things are not appropriate for children.
We have standards in the West. Still, some of them. At least we have no nonces. I'm happy to have that one still.
Right, because I'm pretty much a free speech absolutist. But so you can put on your awful show, but you can't show it to 5-year-old children.
Yeah, just don't be a nonce. I don't think...
Right.
Like, I'm pretty sure this actually is a crime as well, what they're suggesting in some of this.
One of the quotes was, as a guardian, the show is designed to help open conversations with your child about relationships and sex. Why are you having that conversation with a 5-year-old? It doesn't need to happen till at least puberty. There's no... Why would you want to do this? We all know the reason why, you just said it, but there's only one answer.
We all have it in mind. If we go to the next one as well, we can also see the fact that we should continue to remember who these people are. There's some screenshots that apparently were taken down. Why'd you take them down? Funny. Let's click on them to have a look. So the first one here being the fact that they wanted people to look up masturbating animals. Well, they wanted kids to look up masturbating animals.
Use the internet to find some examples of other animals that masturbate. They want kids to find, like, animal porn.
And then draw it and then send it in to them.
I mean, It's about as sick as it gets.
I'm getting the word. I mean, I mean, it is unbelievable the fact that they thought this was acceptable. I mean, they clearly now don't because they deleted it, or at least they think they should hide it. If we go to the next image on there, you can see another example where they wanted you to make your own Play-Doh genitals. And Dr. Emma Chan was going to help you do that.
Oh my God. I haven't seen this one. If one day you don't want to be touched in a particular way, that's absolutely okay. Oh, that's okay, is it? I get one day.
One day a year.
Yeah, well, I
St.
can
George's
say,
Day or
can you
something.
not molest me today, please? Wow.
It's the bottom one there. Why don't you try making your own Play-Doh and Play-Doh genitals? How about you get away from my son and don't talk to me again? Like, what's
That's
wrong
so
with you?
creepy. And that's just like, hey, kids, why don't you try it? I mean, it's just a textbook. What is it, like a Stephen King book? It's a textbook creepiness. This is almost like the things we were told to avoid as kids in public service. Like, don't take sweets from strangers. You wouldn't take sweets from these people.
I mean, if the family sex show was all in a van with free candy written on the side, it would be less suspicious than what they're actually doing. If we go to the next one, we can see the fact, of course, that it just gets weird because this is the article in which they wrote themselves. The Guardian accepted this submission. Big self-report in The Guardian, again. Why'd you keep doing this? Because you're a left-wing outlet, we know.
It's always a double-barrel name. It's usually some posho.
Yeah, some posho who wants to talk to your kids. But the fact that The Guardian are like, yeah, we're left-wing, we'll take nonce advocacy and put it on the front page. Why? Why'd you do that? Revealing. We shall just read through some of it. They say in here that, oh no, how terrible that we couldn't show it. Go to hell. I am the producer and co-creator of a piece of theatre. As if we're meant to respect this.
It's like Shakespeare.
Piece of nonsense that was cancelled before it even had to be seen. It started like this. A group of people online began to call for the show to be shut down. It gained some traction and led to a petition on a platform, Citizen Go, which is believed to have links to extremist, hard-right Christian groups in the United States. I mean, again, the extremists being the ones who don't want to be nonces. I'm okay. We're all proud extremists, I suppose. I think you're the extremist in the room, Mr. Well.
Yeah, I didn't know there were that many hard right Christians in the US. It's just like, I knew there were a few. It's like, yes.
Yeah, I also love the idea that the people raising a fuss were all just hard right extremists. No, they're mums. They're mums being like, hang on a sec.
They're
Like, this is
everyone.
messed up.
They're 99.9% of people.
Yeah. My company, as well as the staff at the theatre venues we were due to be performing at, faced threats of violence and abuse against staff. I suppose those are illegal, so we're bound to disavow. The show is called The Family Sex Show. Its aim is to reimagine the way we think and talk about relationships and sex. No, thank you. We've had enough of that reimagining. We can see it in Libs of TikTok. Do you follow Libs of TikTok?
Yes.
Yeah. And the very kinds of ways leftists want to reimagine the classroom. It's not gone well.
That was another epic cell phone, a bit like the great MAGA King. It's like Libs of TikTok is dangerous because it shows what we do. all she was doing was showing what you get up to yourselves, and this had to be cancelled. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this teacher who wants to talk to your son about queer sex. This is a right-wing crusade to get rid of that. Why is that only right-wing?
I know they were saying things like, some of the kids are confused about my gender identity. Yeah, because they're trying to learn maths. Like, why has that come up? 2 + 2 is 4.
I mean, the funniest one was in Florida. They had critical race theory in the mathematics. So I'm imagining them counting up, just being like, well, there's 2 black guys and 2 white guys. How many worthwhile people are there? And they'll go with 2. And that'll be the solution for the critical race theories, won't it?
There is something, isn't there, like critical race maths, isn't there? There's like, oh, maths is white supremacy. And there's some sort of decolonized maths or something. There is. That exists.
Just makes you want to fry your brain. But these people are real, and they want to reimagine how you'd speak to your kids, or at least they want to take it over. So they say making it was a process of collaboration with a diverse group of people. Oh, that's good. The diverse nonsense.
They must have had some hard right Christians in that diverse group.
But I love the idea they defend themselves. Like, yeah, we did want to do stuff that makes everyone think we're nonsense, but at least we're diverse. At least there are people of different skin colors and different genders engaging in...
But no different opinions, because someone would have shut it down. Like, guys, stop.
Hang on, this is a bit wrong.
Yeah.
They also say the show is a fun and playful performance made up of song, dances, and personal stories. It is about bodies and how societies views them. Is it now?
I was going to say bodies now. Do you see that thing, birthing bodies, the other day?
Yeah. They're trying to do scientific language.
It's just weird dehumanizing stuff. Anyway, carry on.
The funniest one was, Carl mentioned it before, black and brown bodies.
Wow.
Is how progressives were referring to themselves.
And it's like, it sounds like they don't have heads and faces.
Yeah, they're corpses.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how you refer to corpses. Like, there's a bunch of bodies over there, right? So it's like the progressives are referring to themselves as inhuman terms.
Yeah. Well, I mean, got a point.
So it explores themes including gender, sexuality, pleasure, and boundaries. Apparently you don't have any. But really, the show is about care and mutual respect. No, I don't have any care or mutual respect for this. In the slightest. I don't think we should. And it exists in the hope that it can be part of a breaking down of some systems of oppression that are alive today. What systems of oppression do we have in the United Kingdom against this?
Everything's like I said, every taboo is oppression to them. We have taboos for a reason. Some of them are actually good, but everything is oppressive to them. And it comes down to ultimately it comes down to sort of natural law. People like C.S. Lewis talking about, do you believe in natural law, or do you believe that everything is to be overturned? And you know what I mean? And there's no beauty, there's nothing inherent. It's all societal to them, all to be overturned, right?
But even then, I think a natural human being would be revolted by paedophilia and someone who is wanting to talk to a 5-year-old about sex and getting naked in front of 5-year-olds for, well, a show. Yeah, so I think we have a taboo, and the taboo is against noncery. And if they call that oppression, good. Just 100% good. I'm on the side of oppression for that one, which is oppress the nonces. So whether you agree with the show's aims or not, it has not yet been seen publicly. Yes, but you have to describe what you're going to do in detail. So we know. We're like, this isn't going to be a shock. Still, an online group of people thought that we should not be seen, and so it couldn't be judged fairly. I actually know 2 different people who were going to go down and film this secretly, because then we could just expose them, presumably just forward the footage to the police in regards to what they were going to do, as they said it. So the idea that, oh no, we're having our free speech censored here. Yeah, you could have still done it, you just don't do it in front of kids. It's very simple. 18 plus show. The family sex show is a piece of theatre for everyone. We suggest that it can be including children over the age of 5 too. And we would ask anyone under 18 to be accompanied by a guardian. Why?
Yeah, that's the bit. Why would it be children over the age of 5?
But also the double think here, where they're like, yeah, well, we know something's wrong. That's why you put an age limit. Well,
right.
Why'd you put it at 5?
Yeah.
Why, if under 18, should you bring a guardian? Well, you know something is wrong. Like, they are admitting by, stating that what they're doing is inappropriate for kids. And yet they're still like, yeah, but bring your 5-year-old. No one should be bringing their 5-year-old. I mean, it's just gross. I mean, they know that the innocence of children is sacred somehow because they still decided to put an age limit, but they ignore it. Toronto's public health department suggests that children begin to form a sense of identity, which includes attitudes towards their own bodies and genitals before the age of 4. They might not invite under 4s. Again, just double think here. Like, they haven't actually thought through their own position for their own weird advocacy. They'll say the NSPCC also suggests that children under the age of 5 show curiosity in naked bodies. I don't think they think it in the same way they do. I imagine the NSPCC think it in the way of they identify it, whereas the family sex show seems to have a different definition.
Yes, that's just a naked attempt to try and legitimize themselves.
Yeah, we've got academic reasons for what we're doing. Do you? That's very polite.
We did a course.
I've got a course in this.
I've got a certificate in noncery usual way.
The campaigners said the campaigners, they write that the campaigners being, all the normal people, all of us, we said that the show was grooming children by inviting them into the theatre. Yes, where some of the content of the show would include naked bodies.
Oh, they're only naked bodies, so they're just corpses littered around the stage.
Yeah, again, but did they even listen to themselves? Well, they're like, they're right. They hate us because they think we're grooming kids for having naked adults in front of
and
kids.
Yes, some people there will be naked, but why would a child want to see a naked stranger a few feet away? That's not, you never want that.
Like 40-year-old Deborah, I'm not letting near the kid. Like, it's just not happening.
Right.
It's just not going to be allowed. To be clear, this nakedness is limited to one scene. Oh, it's all right then. Go ahead. We only do a little bit.
It is the first scene, and it's an hour long.
It reminds me of the Conservatives in 2050. I'm only for light nonsing. Like, it's ridiculous. It's like, well, we're okay with a bit of it. No, we're not okay with any of it. They say it's not in a sexualized nature. Trust you completely. There are bodies on stage, and no one touches themselves or each other. And you never would.
Saying bodies.
Yeah.
The bodies are piling up on stage. Sorry.
The reason for including nakedness is to present bodies, I mean, you've got a good point, as just that, bodies.
They're not just bodies.
Weirdos. I imagine these people believe in trans women are women, so that's why they can't say man or woman.
Oh, I see.
They'd fall down at that hurdle. But also, just if they're just bodies, just trust us, bro. We just want to get naked in front of your kids for one scene. No, who the hell would ever trust you? It's ridiculous. I'm gonna skip over a bit of this because it goes on and on. They even say in reality, the world, especially in the digital world, we live in a means that we have no control over and what our children see, referring to the fact that children can run into pornography on the internet. Called a content filter. That's the means to filter that. Or you could take the Taliban dadist position that Carl does, which he just doesn't give his kids phones. He's like, no, you can play games for an hour, that's it. Like,
I love the idea that because children will naturally see some disturbing things, let's just put naked people on stage in front of them. Let's cut out the middleman. Let's get ahead of this problem.
There was a daughter of a Conservative MP who suggested the same thing a couple months back. She was like, we should make pornography for children. Like,
oh, yeah, I saw
what?
that.
She was arguing
They're going to see it anyway.
No.
No.
They're going to see it anyway, so let's speed it up. I have some questions about that motivation there. Oh, God. So we'll move on from that. They also say that the relatively small media storm closed the show that no one had watched beyond arts and culture. What does this reveal about the health and resilience of our public conversation? Well, that we still have some boundaries. We have some health in our society left, which is that, doing this to kids, not allowed, and happy to have that one. They also ended off with, how does this event speak to power in the UK? Who has it, and who will use it? Who will get to decide on our behalf of other people? I think that what has happened is far more frightening than the performance.
Well, that's two things there that I wanted to talk about. One is what they're talking about, the cancel culture element. I always think this is interesting. Should the right, or if you want to call them the right, or just normal people, should they engage?
Should the mums with kids not want their children to be nunced?
Right, but should the normal side engage in so-called cancel culture? And it's like, we're supposed to have principles, which is one thing, which we do, but then it's like fighting fire with fire, isn't it? So there's always this sort of debate. When should you hit back? And remember that guy, that Disney director, Gunn, wasn't it? He lost his job, and some people were saying it was good. Some people say, no, we don't want to be like them. And that's always the argument, isn't it? How far do you want to be like them? I don't think this is a really great example because
this shouldn't be a right-wing cause.
No.
This should be an everybody cause.
But in general, it raises that question, doesn't it? Should the normal side engage in that kind of behavior? I mean, what I've noticed with the left is as I wrote a whole article about cancel culture for free market conservatives, and what I noticed, the left, of course, they love cancel culture and they always have to downplay it. I just tweeted the other day that the guy from Mumford & Sons, this guy Otto English, was tweeting about him saying, oh, he says he's been cancelled, but he's in the Sunday Times. He's in a biggest broadsheet newspaper with 3 pages. I'm like, yeah, bro, he lost the band that was massively successful with his whole life because he read a book.
But he's got 3 pages.
But, he's in the papers, so it doesn't exist. Why they're always trying to downplay it? My only conclusion is they need it as an ideological tool so much that they're prepared to risk getting cancelled to keep their little ideological tool. It's like when Homer in The Simpsons, he does a bet with Flanders, and they both lose, and they have to therefore wear a dress and mow the front lawn. And Flanders is going, Homer's saying, you've got to do it. And Flanders is going, but you'd have to do it. He's like, yeah. And so they both it, yeah. So it's left's like, you're going to get cancelled sometimes. Yeah, we still want it.
They'll happily jump on the dynamite.
Right, but they stuck. And interesting, people like David Lammy actually doesn't want it, but your Owen Joneses, they all just want to keep cancel culture. So yeah,
because that's the thing as well. What's the difference here? And you say Mumford & Sons, it's a great example. He got 3 pages in the news. That means nothing to him. Like, he's not going to look back on his life on his deathbed and be like, that was wonderful, man.
Yeah, that broadsheet spread.
It was the band, of course.
Right.
And it gets way worse because, I mean, the biggest cancellation you could think of is probably Donald Trump in terms of just a man. When he just deleted from all social media. His bank cancelled him. Like, I think he had $3 million in the account and the bank just said, we won't want it.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
What's that about? So I think it was Deutsche Bank or whatever, just like, yeah, we won't want it. No, here's $3 million in cash. Good luck. Not going to take it. And then you can think of just individuals. I mean, I won't mention their names because the bot will probably pick up on it. But there are individuals in this country who just can't have a bank account. They just go to Santander and Santander says no. Not even a current account to hold their cash. Doesn't happen.
I didn't know we're doing that here now. There's an individual in America who was banned from the no-fly list and had 500,000 frozen in their bank account. But we're doing that here as well.
Yeah. There are individuals that get this done to them for their advocacy of whatever. But doesn't matter. That's real cancel culture. That's you having your life cancelled. Not just, well, I couldn't get naked in front of 5-year-olds.
Yeah,
I'll live with that one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so free speech to the point where put on this show, I'm not going to cancel it, but yeah, the children has to be the line. Yeah, has to be the line. We have to have a rating for children. And can I just quickly talk about, because it's at the top of the screen,
sure,
the shame and fear part. We must disrupt the culture. Like, why do we always have to disrupt everything in which children and young people are taught shame and fear? I think shame's good. What's wrong with shame? What about the phrase, you have no shame? You know, remember that Sebastian Maniscalco, the comedian, aren't you embarrassed? Shame is good. I even think things like slut shaming get a bad name. Because what?
They need patrolling.
Well, my point on that is that was actually, what was that, right? In the past, that was to do with a woman had to get married to have financial means and have a place in society, right? So if she was perceived as being promiscuous, that would make that less likely. So it was actually useful for her. Now that's not the case because women can make their own money. But isn't it still the case, if we're really honest, if a woman's known for like sleeping with loads of people, she's less likely to want to be married to material. Yeah. And you can say that shouldn't be the case, you're patriarchal and evil, but it is the case. It is the case.
This standard of what's marriage material is set by the men. It's not set by the women.
So that's the reality. So you can say, oh, that's terrible, you're slut shame. It's like, actually, that's defending women in a weird sense. And it happens to men in all sorts of ways as well. We have certain things that produce shame that are there for a reason. So actually, shame is not necessarily bad. Fear, maybe I can say, is not as good, but shame, I'm like...
But also it applies to kink pride, of course.
Right.
You know, you see them out at the Pride Parade, and then you'll see some people turn up in their dog costumes.
Dressed as dogs, and the police are there advocating. Yeah,
that's not to do with intolerance. That's to do with your kink.
Yeah.
And I'm bringing the shame back.
Don't need to see that. Yeah.
Do it in your bedroom, else.
And what could be more British than shame?
Do your patriotic duty and feel awkward.
Pro shame.
But anyway, that's their progressive ideology, in which they are permissive of nonces, again, with The Guardian, and also the family sex show. And society does not accept that. And I love the idea that you have the progressives who essentially control. And I love how, I forgot his name now, the chap who does Mao's Great Famine, Frank Dakota, he makes the point in Mao's China that there was the primary society in which everyone towed the party line and agreed culturally whatever the Communist Party's doing. And you get this in this sense in the West with progressive culture and progressive media, where you have to agree to all these ridiculous standards and so forth, and you have to play the game. But then there's the second society, where all the normal people live, who don't bang the drum for Mao or trans women or women every day, and instead just live their lives. And second society in the UK does not accept noncery. Simple as. Just go home. Don't want you here in that regard. And then also there's the funny aspect that article's not even entirely true, because they published a similar thing, as Leo noted, in the BBC. And, let's click on that to give it a read, which is the BBC had to issue a correction. Correction, 3rd of May, 2022. This article has been amended to remove references to how the show was made in consultation with safeguarding specialists after new information came to light. They lied. They said we did this with safeguarding specialists. They didn't. They're just open liars as well, to keep in mind. The least trustworthy people on the planet. And if we go forward once more, we can see that there's also this article I found with listing some of the defenders of this, because that's give them their side of the argument. And there's an interview between Peter Tatchell and some lady, and she explains some of the things they wanted to teach. And I think we just enjoy a clip of what they were trying to teach and go through it. So let's play.
Can I just tell you about the glossary that they have on their website? Because I think this is one of the most extraordinary things. They have a glossary on their website of different terms, and some of them, it's all mixed in together. Again, no boundaries. They've got a whole bunch of terms about theatre, so like stage right and stage left, and they've got a few kind of social justice things. And then mixed in with all that, they have BDSM, dildo, handjob, kink, pegging, play parties, in a glossary of terms which are supposed to be appropriate for young people to be learning about on their website, from 5 up.
Now, I'm getting the word nonce.
100%. I mean,
still a classic.
Yeah, but it's just, how many 5-year-olds need to be told about pegging? The answer's 0. Love my zeros. Just should not be involved, and it's utterly ridiculous.
I think many adults could live without it, frankly.
Yeah, if we go back to the article, there is I don't think we'll have time for it, but there's just Peter Tatchell trying to defend this, and it's embarrassing, to say the least, not to mention Peter Tatchell's weird history with this stuff. She gives an example saying he tried to defend these kind of relationships by saying, the Samba people of Papua New Guinea engage in, relationships where young men are in relationships with unmarried male warriors, sometimes lasting several years as part of their rites of passage to manhood. Yeah, but what he doesn't mention is the fact that these relationships begin at the age of 9, when boys are removed from their mothers, sometimes under threat of death, beaten with sticks and nettles, and forced to perform fellatio on older boys. It's like, these are the people defending it. I'm not really convinced that anyone involved is worthy of anything. Like, these are probably the most worthless people in society advocating for teaching your 5-year-olds about pegging.
The nettles seems an unnecessary touch, doesn't it?
Come on, the rest of it's fine.
Yeah. You lost me at nettles.
Oh, God. But yeah, it's not a fun topic at all, but this is a modern aspect of the progressive left. which is the endless defense and pushing for nonce acceptance as part of inclusivity.
And they do it with such gaslighting. In that article we just covered, they said one of their aims is to promote safeguarding children, young people, and vulnerable adults from abuse and harm. And it's like this word harm, it's like you're promoting harm. If they just say harm, they think they can do anything.
Yeah, we're safeguarding children by teaching them about pegging.
Yes, I'm safeguarding them while being naked on stage with loads of bodies littered around.
No one believes
Horrific.
any of that. But anyway, that is the right-wing cancel culture, apparently, which is should just be the normal people cancel culture, which is that we have a sense of no nonsense. But apparently, that's now just a rightist thing. So I'll take the label, I guess. If you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as this video that Carl did, What Zoomers Have to Do to Save Themselves. And if you want to follow him on Getter, you can also follow him on Getter at Carl Benjamin on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.